I was seeing her perform, and I realized what an amazing this was when she was just starting. I realized that she had a lot of potential. She was an amazing performer. So I actually asked her for advice on performing because I could tell she really knew what she was doing.
There was always Peppermint who would MC the show because she was the only one that could keep it sober and together and actually get us through the night because the rest of us pretty shithoused by about 1 o'clock when the show goes on.
I think it was 1972 in New Orleans. There's a bar called the Lusty Lady. Peppermint was a dancer back then. Her name, I think, was Hot Pocket. And this is before she had her teeth put in. She didn't have teeth back then. She was known as the mouth of the South because she gave some of the best blowjobs in all of New Orleans. And I met her there and then I'm a producer, so I brought her up to New York City. And from that point on, we started our relationship working together.
One of my first shows that I probably ever did was at the Tunnel, which is a legendary nightclub that was here in New York City in the 90s. And I performed at a party called Curfew, which was like a college party. It was probably not as polished as things are these days. You know, everybody was drunk. It was a nightclub. Lights were flashing. And I was really nervous. I think I went to like Joyce Leslie or some really cheap store to go buy a dress on 34th Street. And I went out and lip synced. I shop at like the prostitute stores on 34th Street, you know, for my clothes. You know, cheap, $20, get a dress, you can wear it 3 times, and it falls apart.
I know her very well out of drag. Yeah. And she's a sweetheart. She's basically the same, except, you know, her hair is wrapped up tight.
I didn't know she was a drag queen.
Who? Peppermint? Oh, I know Peppermint since she was a little baby drag queen. So I know her out of drag, and I don't approve. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
Oddly enough, there's almost no difference other than a fierce tuck, a wig, and a gown, you know? I think it all just kind of groups into one big thing. I mean, when you see a big, buxom black girl like herself do the splits on a beer-soaked stage in front of 100 faggots needing a rock show, you know? I think that kind of covers the arena of what Peppermint does on a nightly basis.
A perfect night for me is one where I can get myself together and get to work on time, where there's 1 million people in the audience and the kicks are higher than they've ever been, the notes are louder than they've ever been, and everybody's having a good time throwing me $100 bills. And at the end of the night, I meet Prince Charming and we move to Hawaii. That is a perfect night. But usually it ends up being, you know, I get to the bar, everyone's really drunk, I'm late, and, you know, I meet some homeless guy outside who wants to go home with me, but I don't want to go home with him. And then I end up losing my keys and having to climb down my neighbor's fire escape and get into my apartment to get in. That's usually how things kind of end up. So I'll have to keep you posted. I'll take even half a perfect day.
I mean, she's a constant walking highlight reel.
Winning Entertainer of the Year, I mean, again, the first time I won Entertainer of the Year, I was speechless. Because it's kind of hard doing this, doing drag and being a nightlife person or a DJ or a bartender. You know, we're out till 4 o'clock in the morning every day, and we see a lot of people, and we know that they appreciate us. We get regulars, they come in, they leave us tips and things like that, but it's pretty rare that, you know, we don't get raises, we don't have insurance or a pension, so it's kind of hard to see the long-term benefits of your job when you're in the nightlife industry. But every once in a while, once every year, when they have these fabulous award shows and ceremonies, it's a good time to get together and kind of get some just pure recognition from people who really appreciate you, and, like, you know, your peers or your colleagues, because they vote in some of these award shows. So that's really cool to know that people are like saying, you know what, out of everybody this whole year, we're gonna show you some props, and that feels good because it really doesn't happen that often.
I said, Peppermint, girl, you went HX 29 times at every bar. They have Asian Peppermint, Black Peppermint, Latin Peppermint. I mean, Peppermint go to Canada. Sometimes she works 10 times a week. I said, Peppermint, there's only 7 nights in a week. And she says, I'd sometimes do 2 or 3 gigs.
I don't know what she does. I don't know how she gets it done.
She also has lots of white slaves, but I'll get into that later.
Let's just say I know how to get things done.
So we actually have a joke amongst ourselves, those of us that work with her, that she has it programmed into her phone to say, I'm running 15 minutes late. Because inevitably, we can plan on getting that text message every single week.
It's because she has a lot of white slaves that will transport her and carry her bags and do whatever. That's a secret. I told her, I know your secret, Peppermint. White slaves. All those dancers you see with Peppermint, they're slaves. All the people carrying their stuff, they're slaves. She has the most important thing a drag queen needs: power over other little gay gentlemen, mostly whiteys, to do her bidding. She's some serious bitch. If you're one of her white slaves, don't fuck with her.
She's a crazy bitch.
She probably shits gummy bears.
That shit's fierce.
I love her.
You gays, I love you.
If I had to describe Peppermint in one word, I would say the word would be radiant.
Magnificent.
Positive.
Extremely positive.
Fierce.
Amazing.
Racist.
Hell no.
Just kidding. Good girl, we'll go with that.
Oh, I'm gonna cut him.
Peppermint is a lovely human being.
She's just her spirit. She's having a wonderful time no matter what. You could take kidnapper and she'd be like, you guys are great, you kidnappers.
If I do get a moment, then I go to the movies. Like, that's usually the easiest thing and the first thing to do is go see a scary movie. That's my favorite thing to do.
Loves the movies. Can't get enough of the movies.
No, I don't go see trashy movies. Horror movies are my thing. So if it's trashy and it's a horror movie, I'm there. I'll go see, I see a lot. I like to see the big blockbusters, but I also like to see some independent stuff. I don't know. I have a mixed bag, but horror movies, if it's a horror movie, if there's blood and screaming, I'm there. I like the craziness where people are dying, not the flowers growing and animals, singing.
She'll see anything. Oh, she loves the horror movies, the crap shit movies. Friday the 13th, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. She finds something positive to say about that movie. She'd be like, it was just cinematography. Those wigs look fierce. You know what I mean? There would be something good to say about that movie.
Sorry, Peppermint, throw you under the bus, but she's a talker. She's the one in the movies like, girl, don't do it.
If it's a horror movie, I'll scream, and I usually give advice. Like, watch out, girl, he's gonna kill you. Run, bitch. Things like that. So, but that, I don't think that counts. I don't talk about, look at these shoes. I don't talk about something that's not. I talk about what's going on in the movie. So, yeah. I'm a talker, but I talk to the movie, which is different. Surgery? Hell no, honey. I don't need no surgery. Look at me, honey. I mean, I've considered it. I think everyone has considered. What would it be like if I could totally switch something around? But as far as reassignment surgery, no. I wouldn't seriously consider it unless it was like the future and you could push a button and it would be done, and then you could push a button and change and have whatever you wanted. If that were the case, then I might try it for a day. Just put the makeup on to make it look like you're a lady. As long as there's makeup, I won't need any knives, except for defense.